जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे
हरे।
कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय
निताय
गौर
गौर
हरि।
हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल।
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 श्रील प्रभुपाद जय
जय
जय।
जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद Prabhupada, Srila Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Shripad, 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 Srila Shripad.
Jaya Jaya Shripad, 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 Jaya Srila Shripad.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Srila Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Srila Gurudev.
Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Nittai
Nitya
Gaura
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol.
Jai Gauranga Premanande Hari 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 Bol Bol Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam Nitai Gauranga Bhagwan Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Studying Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome everyone in this transcendental program of Srimad Bhagavatam study, an essential, indispensable part of our Bhagavad Dharma. Today we are in the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 15, chapter entitled, what is the chapter title? The instructions by Angira Rishi and Narad Muni to King Chitraketu. And instructions are continuing. And today's text number 24. Drishyamana vinarthena na drishyante manobhava karma vidhyayato nana karmani manaso bhavan. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
एक सेकंड कौन कौन सा ले लो. Translation. These visible objects like wife, children, and property are like dreams and mental concoctions. Actually, what we see has no permanent existence. It is sometimes seen and sometimes not. Only because of our past actions do we create such mental concoctions. And because of these concoctions, we perform further activities. Responsibly, please. These visible objects like wife,
These visible objects like wife,
children, and property
children and property
are like dreams and mental concoctions.
are like dreams and mental concoctions.
Actually, what we see has no permanent existence.
Actually, what we see has no permanent existence.
It is sometimes seen and sometimes not.
It is sometimes seen and sometimes not.
Only because of our past actions do we create
Only because of our past actions do we create
such mental concoctions.
such mental concoctions.
And because of these concoctions, we perform further activities.
And because of these concoctions, we perform further activities.
Purport. Everything material is a mental concoction because it is sometimes visible and sometimes not. At night, when we dream of tigers and snakes, they are not actually present. But we are afraid because we are affected by what we envision in our dreams. Everything material is like a dream because it is actually has no permanent existence. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes as follows in his commentary. Arthena Vyagra, like a lot of Sanskrit. So translation, at night one dreams of tigers and snakes. And while dreaming, he actually sees them. He actually sees them, yes. But as soon as the dream is broken, they no longer exist. Similarly, the material world is a creation of our mental. Similarly, the material world, where is that? We just similar. The material world is a creation of our mental concoctions. Too fast. And while dreaming, he actually sees them. But as soon as the dream is broken, they no longer exist. Similarly, the material world is a creation of our mental concoctions. We have come to this material world to enjoy material resources. And by mental concoctions, we discover many, many objects of enjoyment because our minds are absorbed in material things. This is why we receive various bodies. According to our mental concoctions, we work in various ways, desiring various achievements. And by nature and the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Karmana Daiva Netrena, we get the go up. Thus, we become more and more involved with material concoctions. This is the reason for our suffering in the material world. By one kind of activity, we create another, and they all are products of our mental concoctions. Right. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swarupa Damodar Swami Niti Namine Namah Sadbhakta Manaye Manipurudbhavaya Jai Srila Prabhupada Lasadvani Prachara Niratayate Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Nam Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanas Tam Namami Harim Param Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So amazingly interesting instructions because they are most appealing to a person who wants to become awakened. We as human beings consider ourselves very intelligent. And so when something for our own benefit is being described, it becomes very, very interesting. And definitely as a progressive, intelligent being, we want to benefit from it. So these instructions are very much for us, all of us. We must thank King Chitraketu and of course Angira Muni and Narad Muni. They are instructing every condition soul. We are very grateful. We must feel very grateful to King Chitraketu and all the other parts, roles played by the personalities in the messages, in the episodes of Srimad Bhagavatam, who are playing the role of a conditioned soul. But the most beautiful thing about Srimad Bhagavatam is that there is a way out of it. Srimad Bhagavatam provides us the complete package. Complete package means there is a solution. No situation, no position, no, however condition a living entity might be in human form of life, he can be deconditioned. That is the hope. He can become liberated. He can attain the transcendence. However stuck he might be within the bondage of the three modes of material nature. So these instructions, Srila Prabhupada again gives the concoctions. Concoctions means which are superfluous, which don't have the eternal, permanent intrinsic value. So our ideologies in misidentifications, they will be nothing but the concoctions. But concoctions are what we have become. Concoctions are the one we have misidentified. And we are so used to misidentifying with the concoctions because of the strong, deep-rooted, it has become our second nature. It is that precarious a condition we are stuck with. So constant reminding, constant contemplation, the culture, the association, all these things very much will matter until we attain the transcendence. We cannot afford to stop. We cannot afford to give up or undermine the association which provides us, which gives us the impetus, the determination to really, this challenges our being called intelligent. If anybody challenges our intelligence, there are two reactions we can have. Either we just run away from there, correct? Oh, because this material world is a relative existence where I am called intelligent because I am among or in the surrounding of less intelligent people. So I can feel that I'm very intelligent. But the moment I come across people more intelligent than me, then either I can take their shelter, direction, or benefit myself, or just run away from there. So for a conditioned soul, if he is determined, if he is so stuck in his comfort zone, he will run away from the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because he thinks, oh, it is disturbing my glory and it is disturbing my conditioning. But no, Srimad Bhagavatam is truly, truly for the benefit of every human being, however conditioned he might be. How can one not see this in black and white? But the reality also has to be addressed. Our situation, which is so wonderfully described in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, especially again and again, because Arjuna is playing that role in misidentification. He's thinking his true good or his true kalyan is to take care of those, to be concerned on the bodily platform in relation to the bodily connections. That's why Lord Krishna, in 5th chapter, correct? Krishna says, what is that? Yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evase dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta konteya nateshu budhate nateshu ramate budhaha. Budhaha. This word again pops up. Indirectly Krishna is saying that those who are really intelligent, then they don't associate with the things which are temporary, or the pleasures or the satisfaction which comes due to the contact with the senses. Pleasures, sansparshaja bhoga, dukkha yone, because they are ultimately cause of great miseries. Anything which comes in contact with our senses, like all these 5 gross knowledge acquiring senses and functional senses, any sense object or which comes in touch with these senses, and if we identify that, yes, I am getting the pleasure or I am getting the pain, yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yona evati adyantavanta konteya, because they have a beginning and an end. Nateshu ramate buddha. Those who are truly intelligent, they know that, yes, this material senses, this gross body which we have received, it is not our permanent identity. This knowledge, this understanding has to be imbibed again and again and again and again. Because anything which has a beginning and an end, an enlightened person, Buddha literally means जिसे बोध हो गया है. One who has become enlightened, how can he be attached to them? Because this is the nature of the experience. Because soul has nothing to experience in this world. The soul being anti-matter, any association, any identification with the matter is a mismatch for the soul. Because soul is eternal, so it wants to experience which is not beginning and end. It wants to experience something everlasting. So experience, the everlasting experience can be only that of the soul. Anything else is not the experience, cannot be the experience of the soul. And if we identify the soul, if we identify, how can we identify? Even if we identify as the material body or the senses, it is not the soul. It is not the soul. But due to misidentification, it assumes, it has presumed that this is me. That's why it's called sansparsha moksha. As long as the sansparsha or the connection is with the senses, we feel the happiness or the misery. But when it is removed, two ways it is removed, the very object of the sense perception or enjoyment, it falls apart, correct? It leaves it. It goes away, or we go away. Our soul leaves this body. So our senses and the sense object connect, the so-called connection which we think is so real, asatera satya kari mani. It becomes separated two ways. Either the object will separate from us, or we will be separated from the body itself. So when the contact is broken, the happiness ceases. And this is what makes us miserable. So very thing which was causing our so-called happiness, because it is situated in impermanent senses and sense objects. So what happens? It creates misery. That's why those who identify themselves as wise, this is not so much disallowed. If one thinks that he is wise, then it would be essential for him to act in wisdom, act, sustain that enlightened state that I am wise. It gives great gratification, correct? I am wise. But that has to be used. That must cause us to detach ourselves from the objects of sense gratification and from the very senses or from this body, because it is going to also separate. The body and the senses, they are going to be separated because it is transient and only appears, as long as the touch is there, it appears to be pleasant. However hard we try to hold on to the sense connection, we cannot. So a wise person can see this black and white. So although he has to also function in this world, so just to take care of the body, he will just barely use the sense objects for maintaining and just nourishing the body, so that the body can be used as a vehicle to find his or the soul's real nature. So sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam, the body has to be utilized only to fulfill that purpose of the soul and not to remain lost into the misidentification with the body or its senses. So just for maintaining the body, an intelligent person should utilize, engage the senses in the action, but with a sense of mood of detachment. Not only sense of but mood. Mood is very important. It's just like a subtle difference. What is the difference between conscience and consciousness? Anybody knows? Of course, some people must be knowing, but so it's the conscience is the present moment, every moment application of the storehouse of consciousness. In our consciousness is a full system, but in the present moment, how we act, how we apply, this is called conscience. So, and for an enlightened person, that conscience and consciousness, they are never separated. They are working in full cooperation. But here, the dilemma and the situation which Chitraketu Maharaj is going through, he is being enlightened. Why? Because he has acknowledged the superlative or the absolute or liberated position of the two great Mahatmas, Narad Muni and Angira Rishi. So what a wonderful thing that he can directly, and these two Mahatmas have caused Chitraketu to experience the misery of material achievements or material ambitions. Any achievement in the material world, even the sun is What we perceive as son or daughter, we perceive them only as body. But the soul's destination is supreme destination in human form of body is to attain the purest love of Godhead, purest love of Krishna. So if we love our children so much, people, parents very much take pride that we love our children so much. But do we love them enough? This point I have raised. Somehow, invariably, inevitably, if we love our children enough, we will cause their Krishna consciousness to blossom, to bosom. Because we don't love in conditioned state, people don't love their children enough. That's why they deprive the ultimate gift of human life, not only to themselves, but also to their children. And so when children act on the material platform as they grow up, it's very disappointing for the parents. Even on material platform, what to speak of on spiritual platform? So the whole idea is this Krishna consciousness process. It also teaches the parents that if what is loving the children enough, they will want to make them Krishna conscious. And this message ultimately puts us in removing our misidentification. Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna describes Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. Krishna says vimudhatma. He doesn't say atma, because atma is pure. Atma is untouched, not only by the three modes of material nature, but also by karma. There is no kartritva for the pure soul in this material world. As we discussed, Jivere Swarup Hoy Krishna Nityada. So the action of the soul, the living entity, in its pure state is in accordance to his Swarupa, Nityadas. So Nitya Krishna Seva is the only kartritva of the pure soul. Any other misidentification, any other kartritva, Bhoktaram Yagyatapsam Sarvalokam Heshwaram, if a living entity identifies with this doing, that I'm the enjoyer, I'm the proprietor, I'm the well-wisher of everyone else. So these are not his kartritva. These are the kartritva or the doing by the Supreme Lord. The only kartritva left for the soul is Krishna Seva. This point has to be, this must resonate in our existence while we are benefiting from the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam. This must resonate. My only kartritva, my only doership, which is bona fide, which is authorized, which is sanctioned, and which is in my ultimate interest. Only interest, rather. Only interest, not just ultimate, but only interest. This is the only interest of the living entity. That we can take great pleasure. This my only kartritva, my only doership is eternal service of the Supreme Personality, Godhead, eternal service of the associates, Hari Guru Vaishnava, Krishna, Sri Guru, the Vaishnavas who are also worshipable, who are non-different because they are established in the Swarup Shakti, internal potency of the Supreme Lord. So Hari Guru Vaishnava and their seva, their glorification is the only kartritva of the pure soul. But what happens? But in Ahankar Vimudhatma, so Ahankar in Atma becomes Vimudhatma. So Atma, the soul, pure, so it remains pure, it cannot become impure. Bhagavad Gita says, Na kledayan tapo, na shoshasi maruta. The wind cannot dry it, the water cannot touch it or soak it, the fire cannot burn it, So the soul remains intact. Soul cannot become, cannot be hurt. It cannot be cut, it cannot be burnt, it cannot be, But our covering of this gross body and the subtle body, it is so deep rooted that if somebody throws water on us, we say, how dare you, how dare you touch me or throw me? Actually, nobody can touch the soul because we cannot even spot the touch. We cannot spot our soul where it is. So we are touched. We exchange, we experience in this world only through the senses and this body and the mind, intelligence, ego. The soul does not come in touch. The soul is like as if dragged in that. Srila Prabhupada is giving this example of like seeing the tiger, we being killed by the tiger. Tiger appears real. Because as long as the dream is lasting, it appears as real as anything. It appears as real as hell. You know? But soul remains untouched. But the soul, because it is identified with the body, so the body is being attacked. Attack to the mind, attack to the intelligence, hurting our intelligence, hurting our ego, and we think, oh, we are hurt. Can you imagine if today anyone who takes this notion that, oh, I'm the soul, I'm not this ego, I'm not this intelligence, I'm not the mind, senses. Can anybody harm us? Physically or mentally or intellectually or egoistically? We become unharmed because we have survived because we are unharmed. Soul cannot be, is immutable. You know? So that is the nature. So if one becomes situated, how amazing. Then it doesn't that merely knowing that I am not this body or the gross senses, but it is we are not deprived to have the experience of the body, but rather Srimad Bhagavatam gives us the impetus, go for our eternal body, for eternal Rupa. So Chitraketu Maharaj, becoming blessed by the Mahatmas who are traveling, you know, Narad Muni is an eternal space preacher. He's traveling everywhere. And King Chitraketu, as we will, we will find out, he will also attain the body of a Vidyadhara, you know, freely traveling everywhere. The whole idea is that we are not deprived of body, but as a progressive human being, this should be our goal. How can I get a body with which to enjoy eternally? That wouldn't be a bad proposal. How to attain such a status quo, such an experience, even with the mind, eyes and nose and everything. We are not just negating them or just shunning them down or just they are bad. No. We have to find the proper replacement. And that replacement is possible in the realm beyond this matter. So a true transcendentalist is one who, although apparently while living in this world surrounded by the three modes, and this matter, you know, matter means it is transforming every moment. Who sets his goal, he sets his to achieve that body or that rupa, which is in agreement, in function with his swarupa, is an eternal servant of Krishna. You know? So that message, because otherwise, what would be the difference between, we may have the knowledge, but if you don't put in action, that's why the immediately following that shloka, Prakriti Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani. What is the shloka immediately following that? Krishna is giving the full solution. He's not leaving the living entity just, oh, you ahankara vimudhatma. No? Tattvavittu Mahabahu is a very, very critical, important sloka in Bhagavad Gita. Tattvavittu Mahabaho Guna Karma Vibhagayo. What does it mean? It is a person who is in knowledge of the truth. Tattvavit. Guna Karma Vibhagayo. He's different. He's above the influence of guna and karma, both. Because guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. He doesn't become attached to the atmosphere he is surrounded here. You know, his position becomes like the lotus. Other day we described, because many people find the fault with the lotus. Oh, lotus, however good it is, it just it loses its effect or the glow or the beauty or the blossomness in the night. But lily has a different effect. Lily blossoms in the night. So if we combine the situation, lotus and lily combine above the water of these three modes of material nature, so we can attain that position. That is very much possible, and that is the promise given to all of us. So tattva vittu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayo guna guneshu vartante iti matva sajjate. What does it mean? So this is the true nature, realizing the true nature of the soul. One who knows that the soul is aloof from the three modes of material nature, and also aloof from not only the three modes, but also aloof from the actions, laws of karma. Action means laws of karma. The soul is not only above or different, separated from the three modes, but also from the laws of karma. Soul is not implicated. Soul is pure, but it is a misidentification which makes the person vimudhatma. Vimud means delusion, illusion, all combined. When illusion and delusion becomes combined, it becomes vimud. And so, when we, three modes we understand, but the actions also, the actions which are influenced by the devatas, correct? Demigods. We say the Adi-Daivik activities, na? The influence, the actions influenced by the devatas, because they are presiding deity of every element of the matter. So actions are influenced by the devatas, and actions are also influenced by what? The actions, natural proclivity of the senses, correct? Our senses also have natural proclivity to look for the sense objects or sense gratification, or sometimes to detach from them, you know. So any actions which are also influence of the proclivity of the senses, and also the actions created by the force or the temptation of the sense objects also. And also the modes, the three modes cause the actions, correct? Our senses, sense objects, and the devatas, the four kinds of actions. But the soul, in spite of that, if the soul is becomes situated in tattvavit, tattvavittu mahabaho, if he understands the nature of the modes and the actions influence, but he cannot be even touched. What a tremendous relief one gets. So this one relief from the influence of the three modes, the sense objects, the influence caused by the devatas, because they can affect only the things which is matter, because everybody is situated in this material existence, but the soul is not part of this material existence. I am above, I am aloof from the material existence. So that transcendental knowledge is very much leaves only one goal. Go for the spiritual route. Go for our ultimate benediction to accomplish. We have been given this human form of life, and this opportunity is very, very wonderful. Yesterday, our Maharaj gave the most enlightening class, reminding us that this option is given to all of us, and we are all, this is our story. And at any stage of life, as long as we are stuck in this material existence and material conditioning, the same question will haunt us. And this is the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam study, that this question keeps on haunting us. It will not leave us as long as, if we keep stuck, if we keep With this Bhagavad study culture, this question will keep haunting us, and that is the most saving grace. That one day, someday, it will get to us, and that would be the most wonderful thing to happen in our life. Yam labdva, and that's why Bhagavad Gita ultimately says, Yam labdva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tatha yasmin sthito na dukkhene gurunapi vichalyate. Somewhere in 6th chapter it comes, Yam labdva chaparam labham. And the shloka just preceding that, Sukham Atyantikam, something very beautiful, that when one becomes situated in the true experience actually. So this process of Krishna consciousness, it provides the true experience, susukham kaltum abhyam, the most blissful experience which the soul has been hankering since eternity. So if one remains in the heat of this Krishna consciousness, then his soul nature would be very vibrantly realized. And then our struggle to separate ourselves from the material conditioning and to become situated on the soul platform, it would be very easy. It is doable. It is doable. Our whole generation of disciplic succession is a success story. Our Sri Guru is a success story. His Sri Guru is a success story. And our present Guru Vargas are also success stories. So we are just the mercy, the flow of purest, ultimate benediction is coming down from success story. It is not like yesterday, the classic example that the tutor is a failure. Those who impart knowledge, they just theoretically just give you the, no. So when our Guru Vargas, the Vaishnavas, they are the success stories. And when a success story person speaks, he speaks with realization. So this Bhagavatam, it gives us the message of realized knowledge. And anybody who drowns oneself or just sinks in this realized transcendent knowledge, he will feel it, because it will get to his soul. It won't remain just superficially on the mental level, intellectual level, egoistic level. No, it is meant to touch our soul, because this transcendental knowledge is non-material. So the non-material spiritual knowledge alone can touch the soul. If anything is not spiritual, it cannot benefit the soul. Only the spiritual knowledge, not the material knowledge and where is the stock market and how much glory and all this fascination, even on the platform dharma or good or bad, on the platform good. No, it doesn't have the intrinsic value for the soul. Soul has been hankering since eternity for the transcendence, for the transcendental knowledge, transcendental experience, and supreme transcendence, the divine couple Sri Radha Shyam Sundar. So thank you all very much for your patiently hearing. And please come forward if you have anything to say, any question, comment, or addition. Welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaji. Dandavat Pranam, and thank you for the wonderful class. Yeah, if anyone is having any question regarding this class, they can raise the hand and ask His Holiness Bhaktiswarup Govind Maharaj. Yes, Amritaji, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Pranam to Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is a very wonderful
Speak a little loudly. Just let this noise pass first.
As we know that through the enlightenment of our heart to our Sri Guru and all the Bhagavatas study and everything, that as our soul is an inseparable part of the divine purpose, and soul is above all aloof from this material world. But as we live in this material world, so sometimes it affects us also, and sometimes the feeling of separation, even when we understand or when we feel our inseparable part, that we are inseparable part of a divine couple, then also the feeling of separation overwhelms us. that okay, as we are separated, but really we are not separated, but the feeling of separation is also always overwhelming. So how can we are able to control ourselves, that our soul is not separated from that from divine couple, and we can live in this material world like a lotus above the water, and also always connected with that.
Hmm. Very nice question. This question is asked again and again, and it needs
I
to be
can't
addressed
hear you.
again and again.
I can't hear.
Just okay, just a second, just a second. What's happening? Okay, am I audible now?
I
Hare
can't
Krishna.
hear.
No.
Yes, Maharaj, you are audible.
Okay, so this question is common, and it needs to be addressed again and again, because our deep-rooted conditioning in misidentification with this perishable body, this body, this body is very beautiful, correct? Because it has the most beautiful purpose. This human body, we must be proud of, but to the right end, not to the wrong end. So people have been proud of their this material body and bodily relations to the wrong end, to their own disadvantage. So we must have to realize the true importance, true purpose, or true usefulness of this body. With transcendental knowledge, we must free ourselves from becoming overwhelmed by the external situations. Deep conditioning causes the pain, we are emotional beings, so we have emotions, because when we use some pot or something, when we have to separate, we still have that attraction. If something has helped us, we have lived with something, even material, the natural affinity is there, but that affinity cannot over should not must not overwhelm. That's why this transcendental knowledge. They just saying that jnani bhoge jnana se. So when we come to this platform of knowledge, even sat asat, jad chetan vivek, then also it frees us from becoming overwhelmed with the separation of something which is temporary anyway. It will be separated. Either the thing will lose its effect of beauty, or its freshness, or our body, the senses, they will leave us. When the body leaves, kaumaram yauvanam jara, our blissful nature of the childhood, it is replaced by our youth, and youth is replaced by old age. And so this replacement makes this experience impermanent. So this a person in knowledge, even simple knowledge, what to speak of transcendental knowledge, because transcendental knowledge does not leave us stuck only on the knowledge platform. Oh, this is asat, this is sat, or this is matter, this is spirit. This knowledge is not enough. Actually, the platform of knowledge causes the greatest misery. And this is a very interesting instruction of Srimad Bhagavatam, where he describes the yascha mood tamo loke yascha buddhe param gatah तावुभौ सुखम एधेते क्लिश्यन्ति अतिरितो जन. Those who are stuck in between ignorance, so those who are stuck in animalistic platform, they don't have the sense of misery. Or those who are situated in transcendental knowledge, in realization, they also experience the real bliss. Only two people become happy even in this world. Those who are situated in transcendence, they feel the spiritual happiness, eternal, unbroken. Yam labdva chaparam labham manyate na adhikam tatha yasmin sito na dukhe na gurunapi vichalyate. Then he cannot become overwhelmed by any material negative situation or happening or event, but merely on the platform of knowledge, it causes us. So we have to raise our consciousness, not only just on the platform of that this is perishable and this is the soul is permanent. No, the soul needs to experience is permanent in uninterrupted. Labdvacha yasmin stito na dukhyena, becoming situated in transcendental bliss experience. Then material situations we won't be able to overwhelm us. So this word overwhelm does not exist in the conscience and consciousness of a person enlightened in spiritual knowledge. Because why to worry about जो चला जाता है ना, जो या जो चला जाएगा, why to just cry over this thing, the inevitable? So inevitable cannot be avoided, however hard we try. So the things of this world, they have this nature, they have a beginning and end. So end we cannot avoid. So if the end comes before we expect, we never want actually that the end of this material situation which we are feeling so good about, it should leave, but it will leave. So an enlightened person is one who wakes up before the time forces us to let go. So we must be able to let go of things before we will be forced to let go. And through such contemplation and continuing experiencing the bliss of the soul by performing this sadhana bhakti and everything about it, we can free ourselves from becoming overwhelmed by any material situation, which will happen eventually. So if it happens now, we should be prepared for it. We should not cause a shock to us. A true transcendentalist, he doesn't become shocked by anything. Rather, he's prepared for any shock. That's why we describe this, the event of death, so-called, to the body, and all our material plans, all our concoctions, they will be shattered. But we must contemplate, we must think of this death not only as certain as immanent, and also simultaneously most uncertain thing, when it can happen. So if a death is inevitable and also imminent, we should be prepared for any situation in this world and not allow ourselves to become overwhelmed. Rather, this should be a simulating experience. We should simulate many situations in this world. What if some loved one dies? What will happen to me? So these simulations will help us so that when the actual event happens, we were already prepared. So this is what vaccination of this transcendence, correct? So vaccination is going on, corona. That means we are prepared for our inner protection system is prepared for safeguarding us. In the same way, this transcendental knowledge, it vaccinizes our preparing us from the actual event to happen, to safeguard us from becoming shocked and overwhelmed. All right? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaji. Thank you. Our Balramji is having a question. Balramji, please.
Hare Krishna Maharajji, Dandavata Pranam. Very nice, enlightening class.
Yesterday Maharaj had very so what I'm spelling out is the residuals,
No, it's new and it's very well explained. So I have one question about the sentence written there. The material world is created by by mental concoction. So, but I think it's not the material world is created, because the material world is existing. So that means the looking at this material world, whatever the new world that we create in our mind is the new world that is created, and that we can say like daydreaming. The world that we create in dream is the night dream, but here it's the like daydreaming. So that means it's I mean, this there are two things. One is the world which is existing, and that influences, as you said, that influences our senses, or the prakriti that influences us, and the world which is not there, but we are creating in our mind. These are different. So the world that we create in our mind, that should be controlled. So if we don't desire anything, then our mind can be out of this daydreaming world, and we can concentrate on Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then the world will be changed.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
definitely. So it's our contemplation. It is our ambitions or aspirations within the realm of matter. They become concoctions because sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't. Correct? Because we don't control the matter. We think, but we think that yes, whatever I plan, I will accomplish. And even if we achieve it, Srila Prabhupada gives an example that the whole life we dedicate to create, to make progress from a hut to a skyscraper building, correct? Whole life we dedicated to upgrade ourselves in our achievements from a hut to a skyscraper. And when the skyscraper is inaugurated, we are no more to live there. This is the actual situation. So Bhagavatam is such a rescuing effort itself. It is just saving us from becoming fooled, remaining fooled by these material concoctions and aspirations, because for the soul, which we really are, it has no intrinsic value. The skyscraper building, the body for which we create, the body is not going to be there even. Even the body for the body's comfort, we create a skyscraper and lot of wealth and lot of this and that. They are illusory in that sense. They are as real, but illusory, because they don't serve the purpose of the soul. So a human being is advised to come out of this misidentification and look for the real interest, real fulfillment of himself, the soul, not himself as this covering of the soul, the gross body or the material subtle body. So this message is clear in black and white. How can we overlook and not imbibe this message in real sense? And that won't be a dream. So sometimes we mix the subject of dream and dream-like. Again, we have to reiterate, the world appears dream-like, dream-like, because no matter however hard we try to hold on to it in this position, to my youthful situation, to my childlike situation, now it will turn into old age and disease and death, correct? So every plan, every concoction, it's nice that Prabhupada uses the word concoctions multiple times. Yeah, if something is really concoctions, it should be given up, correct? It should not be entertained. So that's the message. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. Yeah, very nice.
All right.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. All right, Sanatan Goswami ji.
Yes, Maharaji. We can conclude.
वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। श्रील श्रीपाद गुरु महाराज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि।
His Holiness Bhakti Govind Maharaj ki jai. Hare Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you one and all for joining. See you all in tomorrow's class.